Oh, this is going to be fun. I haven't had a chance to do some channelings with Isis lately, and so today has been a nudge for me to do this again. So I gladly comply. I have no idea again, but the last one I really enjoyed, so we will let her run the show. All right, everyone, here we go. Welcome back, everyone, especially you, Suzanne. I can channel through anybody, but I enjoy the messages that you put to words for me together in these channelings. Today is a perfect day. Every day is a perfect day in my book. I understand the timelessness of things, but I still enjoy the physical days as they present themselves to me. This time of year is the time where our bounty shows itself. It is a fun celebratory time of year, not unlike springtime and not unlike summer or winter, but I sure love the different seasons, especially this one. The joy of being physical is just that. It is to be that feeling of joy. And a lot of times, a lot of people will let you know, and it seems like it happens at a greater speed now, that that's not okay to feel that way. And I am here to tell you that is the only real way to feel. All the rest of them will take apart your own self from your spirit piece by piece. And yet being in your spirit is a very joyful thing. It's a very joyful experience. And yes, it produces bounty. So this time of year was a time of celebration where we are thanking Mother Nature for everything that she had done through the seasons, through the sun, through what we call light, and also through the different people and their parts that they have played in the production or the producing of things of vegetation, things of beauty, things of art, everything. We were able to just sit down and take what would you call, a bit of an inventory, as it were, of all the new things Earth has because of this collaboration between heaven and earth, our spirits with the physical. And so we're going to start out with how your spirit actually works in a bountiful way. How does it create? How does it show itself in a physical matter, what it's created? And this will be a little different than what you might have been brought up understanding to be true, but much more delightful and much more sure in its production and its realization for yourself to experience. So what happens is, instead of deciding through what needs to happen, you decide from what feels joyful to happen. And yet you are still creating, so it is things that have not shown yet. And yet you sit, or you are here now, deciding that. And this is where the two forks in the road become after that. Once you've made that choice, or actually the fork in the road happens before you've made that choice. So when I taught Suzanne the Merkaba, having the 8 chakras, starting out with that feminine I am chakra, the receiving chakra, the void, the 0 point energy one, that becomes a big deal, because when you are deciding and choosing from your physical chakra, that red root chakra, it's a whole different understanding than when you decide to start where you are in 0 point energy that includes and invites and appreciates all of the other realms to participate with you. And yet you feel at one with yourself when you are choosing this, because it is what is joyful for you to receive. And this is what's so awesome, is when you go back into the oneness of yourself, into that first beautiful chakra, there is a centeredness and there is one system. And that system depends completely on the feeling of being in love. And when I'm using the word love, it is a completely different understanding from thinking of a physical love, versus an inherent spirit love. And the reason being this is when you go back into your spirit, you go back into the oneness of yourself, and then choosing from that, everything else is on the next shelf up. Everything else is in the next level. But it is not part of what you choose. It is not a decider of how and what you choose. But it is a collaborator to bring you what you have chosen. And this is a big difference. When you go back into your oneness, into your spirit, and let this run the show, first of all, you are one with yourself so that you will understand what is important and valuable and joyful to you. And then second, you draw into what is one with you. And how you know is how you feel. As things start showing up, feel them. Do they feel joyful? If they do, open up more. And in my opinion, there is no other feeling associated necessary when you are in your spirit. So stay there. You will feel either neutral or you will feel joy. When you feel neutral, let it expand out to show you your joy. And when you feel joy, you'll know what to do next. And that brings you into the physical level of your chakras. Let yourself do what feels joyful to you. And this is another thing, is when you go back into your oneness of the I am creatorship of the receiver of all good things. You now have a different landscape of what you're bringing into yourself. And it's actually already been. So what you have decided to focus on receiving. And again, it's a feeling thing. But the supply is never limited here. The supply is part of the all. So everything that you can even imagine shows up for you through this. Your spirit knows the details, knows the connections, knows how to draw it into yourself as you stay open to receive it. And so this comes into the next point. As physical beings, you've learned to not be open, to shut yourself down, to protect yourself off, to separate yourself away from. And yet these are all physical maneuvers and unnecessary when you've decided how you're receiving your goods. And when you understand that it's coming from your spirit, the spirit that is endless, open, and supplies all things. There's no need to shut anything down. There's no need for distractions. There's no need to ever think anything other than joy. And this takes a minute, as I have seen with people. It takes a minute to put themselves back into this authority of feeling beautiful, of knowing that beauty will find them, and that knowing those two are their spirit in action. That is the action. That is the physicalness. That is the moving about that you get to do when you are doing it from your spirit awareness. And you are very physical. You are more physical than you've ever experienced, but you are not isolated. You are instead aware of the angels. You are instead aware of Mother Nature. You are instead aware of everyone else's spirit. And for you, there is no other landscape. For you, there is no other reality. And because for you, there is no other reality and your spirit takes charge, there is no other reality for anyone else that you're even aware of. And that appears to be dominant. Know and understand that this dominance comes from oneness of feeling, not oneness of control, not oneness of anything that you move around with action. Instead, it's already in place, finding you, coming to you, being with you joyfully. And you can feel that. You will feel that every single moment, whether you are feeling this with your oneness, or you feeling this with the oneness with other people, or feeling this with the oneness of Mother Earth, or feeling this with the oneness of the angels, or feeling this with the oneness of the elementals, or feeling this with the oneness of structure, or feeling this with the oneness of anything. It comes alive here because it knows life from its love space. And that is so powerful that others looking at you will just shake their head and not understand. And that's okay. Feel the love from them, and then they'll understand for themselves. But you'll get to witness that oneness with yourself with them. And this brings me on to another topic of big importance, in my opinion. You are physical. You are human. I am human. But I allow my humanity to come from my spirit. I allow that to delegate and create and help me to receive. And that is the fork in the road that I am presenting to you today. When I am deciding what will be physical next, I have anything with my body, I decide. I have anything with structure, I decide. Any time and space event, I decide. And I do it from this feeling, and this feeling is present at all events for me. Past, future, now is the same. And yet I have access to all of that, aligning all of that to come alive, because it is only alive with that feeling of oneness. It is only alive with feeling. It is only alive with feeling the love of it. And then it produces a harmonic structure for me. It all does go together. There is no feeling of separation. And that's where I create. That's where I receive my creations. And right now, where do you choose to receive yours? As you receive your creations and decide to come back into your spirit and choose, watch how harmonic your life becomes. Watch how synchronistic your events show up for you, and watch how joyful you are the whole entire time. And as you feel joy, open up some more and you'll see even more. And if you're not feeling joy, open up to your own spirit. She knows, he knows joy. And as you feel it, that will open up your landscape. And that alone is all that is needed for everything that is created on our beloved Mother Earth. Create at will. Create with your spirit and instantaneously see the world harmonize around you without you even necessarily lifting a finger. Own your spirit as the first level of activity, and you will see the rest of it come into place. I promise. That is it for now. Play in this field of probability. The field of probability means, as I feel love for myself, my landscape will show lovely to me. That is not only possible, that is not only probable, that is perfection. Your spirit knows, always knows, and expects this. Expect it for yourself, and you will see what I am talking about. Own your power in the oneness of who you are, first, foremost. And you will not feel any ending. You will feel no beginning. You will feel the I am. You will feel the isness of your personal being. And that is spirit in action.